What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 23 My Team Career Mode, and we are here for round number 12 of Season 7 of our Jaguar Racing career, and it is time for the French Grand Prix. I am very excited for this one, because this is a track that we have not had a victory at in 5 attempts. It was first on the calendar in Season 2. We have raced it every single season since then, and not once have we managed to win this one. You will have seen just then, I did renew Charles Leclerc's contract. I said I was going to do that in the last video, and we did exactly that. So, speaking of last video, you can see on the results down at the bottom of the chart here that I finished second at the British Grand Prix. I was trying very hard to win it, but unfortunately I got caught up in a little bit of a battle in the first stint with Logan Sargent, and that kind of held up my pace a little bit. It allowed George Russell to build a gap out in front, and eventually he just pulled away and there was nothing we could do about it. So we currently sit third in the drivers' standings at the moment, 10 points behind Russell, 4 points behind Esteban Ocon, and with a real chance to retake the lead of the Drivers' Championship if we can have a good weekend here at the French Grand Prix. Of course, it's Esteban Ocon's home race, so I'm sure that he will be very keen to beat us this weekend. But between you and me, I could really use a good weekend this weekend to get us back in the Constructors' Championship fight as well, because we're currently sort of 70 points off of Red Bull there or thereabouts. So not only for me, but also for Charles Leclerc, I feel like we need a pretty good weekend this weekend. Charles Leclerc, of course, is not necessarily a local, quote-unquote, but I imagine that a lot of Monegasque fans living in Monaco who want to come and support Charles Leclerc will be able to make the pilgrimage from Monaco to Paul Ricard. It's in the south of France, if I'm not mistaken, so not too far away from Monaco. Definitely a journey that you would make to support your favourite driver. So he'll have lots of people here cheering him on, and yeah, for that reason, I hope that he can put together a good result for the team as well, of course. And I mean, look, he went fastest in practice, so he did something at least. As for us, we only did a run on the medium compound tyres. We didn't do any runs on the soft compound tyres, so yeah, we don't know what our pace is going to be like in qualifying. I can never really tell around this circuit anyway whether our pace is going to be sufficient or not, so I guess we'll have to find out as we get into the qualifying session. Now there's a lot of speculation actually with F1 24, whether this track is actually going to be in the game or not, because of course it's not on the F1 calendar anymore, and there's been no mention of bonus tracks yet. So this might be the last time for a very long time that I race around the French Grand Prix. So yeah, I'm gonna drink it in while I still can, as we do a 1:27.8 for our first flying lap on a fresh set of soft compound tyres here in Q1, and immediately you could see there I made up 3/10 through the first corner alone on my in lap. So I was pretty confident we could improve by a fair amount, but actually we only improved by about 3.5 tenths as we crossed the line into 1:27.4. But that is going to be good enough for us to get through into Q2 without any real worries in P2. So, yeah, we will see what we can do as we make our way through the qualifying session. Max Verstappen going fastest there by 0.003 of a second. Meanwhile, Leclerc also getting through in P5. Knocked out here was Stroll, Fittipaldi, Albon, Zhou, Tsunoda, and Pourchaire. Albon, very disappointing for him. He, of course, was on the podium in Silverstone. He was pushing me all the way for P2. Eventually managed to get him and overtake him on the in the dying laps of the British Grand Prix. So yeah, I think that for Albon to be knocked out in Q1 here is very disappointing. We do a 1:28.6 on our banker lap on a set of used soft compound tyres, so definitely want to get quite a lot of improvement over that, to be honest with you. That isn't even close to being a good enough lap. But as we make our way into the final sector on our flying lap on fresh soft compound tyres, we're already up by a second, and we've still got several corners to go. And of course, it's the last few corners of the lap where the tyres really start to go off when you're on used tyres. So I think we have a real opportunity to make up quite a significant chunk of time here through these last few corners. You can see we're making up like 1-2 tenths of a second through pretty much every corner, and we made up a load through the final corner there. You can see we're improving by about 1.7 seconds as we come to the line. It's a 1:26.8. And perhaps unsurprisingly, that is the fastest time of the session, and we're through to Q3 in P1. We needed a good lap time, and we more than pulled it out. That was 3/10 faster than Oscar Piastri in P2, and almost a second faster than Charles Leclerc in P6 as well. Knocked out here in Q2 was Doohan, Vesti, Hauger, Perez, Russell and De Vries. Definitely a couple of drivers in there that will be bitterly disappointed to be knocked out in Q2, particularly Hauger and Russell. You know, Hauger, I think, could use a good weekend sooner rather than later to get himself back in the championship fight. He's not had a great time of things, kind of been shown up by his teammate Logan Sargent recently. That seems set to continue this weekend, and Russell as well, the championship leader at the moment, of course, won't be taking any further part in qualifying, as we do a 1:27.9 on our banker lap here in Q3. So that's the used soft compound tyres that we've just used there, and now we're on a fresh set of soft compound tyres, and once again we are finding significant improvements into the final sector, already 7/10 up. I don't know what the fastest time of the session is so far, so I would say that this lap time might end up being good enough for pole position, but you know, the AI improves lap on lap on lap. In each session they get faster and faster, so we'll see whether the 9/10 or so improvement that we're getting is going to be good enough or not. It's it's about 8.5 tenths across the line, 1:27.0. It is good enough for pole position, and yeah, very, very happy with that. Hopefully we'll be able to contend for the win tomorrow.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Robinson, Sargent and Kevin Magnussen. With qualifying wrapped up, we now have our grid line up for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
Well, that is a bit of a surprising order of things, to be honest. Leclerc all the way down in P10. Meanwhile, it's Sargent and Magnussen joining me at the top. The home favourite Esteban Ocon only in P5 as well. So he's going to have to fight his way through if he wants to win tomorrow. But for us, all we have to do is just see if we can hold on to the lead as we get into the French Grand Prix.
Here we are again then at Le Castellet for another round of this year's Formula One World Championship. Renault took their first French Grand Prix win here all the way back in the inaugural race in 1906, but it was another 73 years before they could take their second. I'm sure Alpine will be pushing hard to delight the local fans here today. 6 lefts and 9 rights give us a total of 15 corners here at the Circuit Paul Ricard, and a lap covers an overall distance of 3.6 miles. Average speeds will be somewhere in the region of 142 miles per hour, and they'll be maxing out on the Mistral Straight at around 205 miles per hour. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Robinson lines up on pole position, and Logan Sargent completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Magnussen, Norris, Ocon, Oscar Piastri, Gasly, Verstappen, Liam Lawson, Leclerc, Doohan, Vesti, Hauger, Russell, De Vries, Stroll, Fittipaldi, Albon, Joe, Tsunoda, Teo Porcher, and Sergio Perez completes our grid. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. A warm welcome to Natalie Pinkham, who is beside me in the commentary box today. Why don't we get things rolling by talking about George Russell? And it's great to have the company of Anthony Davidson up here in the commentary box, and a great win for them last time out. What goes into a winning run like that?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
Okay, we've got that relief of having points on the board finally, so let's keep that form up and get another top 10 finish today, please.
Yep, the target here definitely going to be the win today. An interesting mix of tyre strategies. We've opted for a medium-hard, boxing on lap 12 onto the hard compound tyres, but in the top 5 here you can see that Sargent and Ocon are on the hards, myself and Norris are both on the mediums, and then Kevin Magnussen has actually opted for the soft compound tyres. So really it is it's going to be very curious to see which strategy prevails here. I think Kevin Magnussen could be an outside shout for the victory here today, because those soft compound tyres, you know, if he can get ahead of me, he will have the optimum pit strategy, you would have to imagine. You know, being able to box a little bit earlier, switching onto a set of medium compound tyres. As long as the tyres don't wear out for Magnussen, he could be in a legitimate chance of victory here today. But we'll see what we can do as the lights come on and the lights go out, and it's a good getaway compared to Logan Sargent. But let's keep an eye on Kevin Magnussen. He's already up into P2. Is he going to potentially look for a challenge on me into turn 1? He's moving to the inside. He's going to try and launch it up the inside at turn 1, but as we make our way through turn 2, Kevin Magnussen just didn't have quite enough on that. But he is going to try and come back at me now as we come on the run into turn 3, and Kevin Magnussen is going to try and go up the inside, try and hold it around the outside through the next sequence of corners, and we're going to have the outside line during the following few corners as well. But Kevin Magnussen is firmly keeping his foot in here, but fortunately the outside line just seems to prevail for us for right now. Is he, however, going to have the straight line speed to maybe think about closing me down on the run into the chicane at the end of this big long straight here at Paul Ricard? I think he just about will, you know. He's going to try and go for a move, but he's not quite as confident on the brakes. With those soft compound tyres, if he's warmed them up properly, he definitely would have been able to outbrake me there, but Kevin Magnussen just not quite confident enough to go for a dive bomb there, and as a result he has to settle into P2. Meanwhile, the home favourite Esteban Ocon currently jostling with Logan Sargent over P3 and P4. We'll see who prevails there. I think Norris has had a poor start here by the looks of things as well, because Lawson has already overtaken him up into P5 on the soft compound tyres as well as Liam Lawson, so we'll keep an eye on him, see if he can maybe clear the hard runners of Sargent and Ocon. He needs to do it quickly, I would say, because otherwise he's just going to get caught in a DRS train. This is one of those circuits where it is remarkably easy to find yourself stuck in a DRS train, and I mean, it's happened to me on multiple occasions over the years. But as we make our way onto lap 2 now, you can see that we have managed to hold on to the lead just about, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Magnussen mounts even more pressure on us as the laps go on. And indeed, you can see he's stayed right with us as the DRS gets enabled here on lap number 3, and he is going to breeze past us with that DRS. Of course, this was the site of Kevin Magnussen's one and only win in Formula 1 in season 2, I believe it was, back when he was driving for Haas, during that season where Haas was actually a fairly competitive car at times, you know, getting themselves onto the podiums. He managed to get a victory here in Baku. Nico Hulkenberg as well, of course, managed to get a... sorry, not in Baku. It was in Baku Nico Hulkenberg got the victory, and then Magnussen here in France. But enough chatter about that, because we're going to go for an overtake. Kevin Magnussen turns in on us, though, and we have to back out of the move as a result of that. Kevin Magnussen perhaps showing some of the driving style that he's becoming associated with in recent races in real-life Formula 1. But, yeah, Kevin Magnussen will hold on to the lead for the time being. We'll see if we can maybe try another time to get past him here on lap number 7. We'll have the DRS once again. That battling has definitely allowed Ocon and Sargent back into the fight a little bit now, but we are going to see if we can commit to a move on Kevin Magnussen this time round the outside. Didn't fancy going to the inside and getting turned in on again, so I've opted for the outside, and we managed to fight our way past Kevin Magnussen here on lap 7. We'll see if we can keep him behind for much longer, but it looks like he's going to try and go for a bit of a move up the inside at the following fast-flowing right-hander, but I can't quite make it stick on this occasion, and I wouldn't be surprised if his soft compound tyres are starting to go off a little bit now. You'd imagine that those tyres are not going to last forever. But yeah, like I said, this was where he got his first win in Formula 1, the only time he's won in any team he's been in, and it was in a Haas, amazingly. You know, he's driven for Haas, he's driven for Aston Martin, he's driven for McLaren, which is where he's now going to be attempting to re-overtake me into lap number 8, but we just about managed to keep in there, and actually in doing that, we forced him a bit wide, allowed Esteban Ocon to overtake him, and Ocon's now looking for a move on me up the inside and round the outside now through the following corners. Esteban Ocon has taken the lead of the French Grand Prix. So yeah, the man from France, the man who would say probably was odds-on favourite to win this race just on the fact that it is his home race and he'll be pushing extra hard to make it a reality, finds his way up into P1, having started P5 on hard compound tyres. Those tyres are finally starting to come in. However, with the DRS, we're able to get back past the hometown hero, and I'm sure that will be met with a resounding boo from the crowd if this were a future Formula 1 game, where I think that's starting to become a slightly more prevalent thing. From what I understand, that you'll be able to hear the crowd noise a bit more. That's another update that's coming down the pipeline. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how hard we'll have to defend from Esteban Ocon, because he's definitely going to probably go for another move into turn 1 with the DRS here on lap number 9. At the start of lap number 9, we squeeze him to the inside of the corner. Can we hold him off around the outside, switch to the inside for turn 1 and 2, and eventually we do manage to keep the position. This is Pierre Gasly, the other hometown favourite. He will not be quite as lucky as Esteban Ocon here today. He is out of the race, and disappointment for the Alpine driver. I'm pretty sure they had a DNF in Silverstone as well. I think it was a double DNF for them, if I remember correctly. So yeah, very disappointing. Their home team as well, of course, as Esteban Ocon puts a bit more pressure on me into the chicane on lap 11. Yeah, they'll be pinning all of their hopes now, the home team, Alpine, on Frederick Vesti, who, as far as I understand, is not currently running in the top 10. So, yeah, it will be a difficult race for the home boys. As we come into the pit lane here on lap 12, we actually built a bit of a gap behind because all the cars behind us were starting to battle. You know, Piastri, Magnussen, Sargent, Ocon, all of those guys were battling away quite heavily. And yeah, here on lap 12 we're coming into the pits. Unfortunately, Charles Leclerc was actually quite close behind us, and he's come into the pits as well. So we're going to have to hope that we can have a very quick stop here and that they can get Charles Leclerc in and out quite quickly. We'll keep an eye out for him. There he is. He's just about to turn in now, and he was held a little bit, but I don't think too much. So a pretty efficient double stack from the team as far as things are concerned there, and hopefully it hasn't harmed Charles Leclerc's chances too much. He's actually having a pretty good race right now. I think he was running at about P7 or so before the pit stop phase, so we'll see where he comes out. This is Max Verstappen in the Ferrari, and this team just cannot catch a break this season. You know, they are, what, P7, P8 in the Constructors, I think, and yeah, they just can't seem to score points no matter what. Perez is currently running in P9, but I'm fairly confident he hasn't boxed yet. So he will definitely be losing out on more positions as time goes on. Magnussen and Sargent pitting on lap number 13, and we are comfortably ahead of Magnussen now. 4.7 seconds is the gap. I think Piastri has done a bit of an undercut on Logan Sargent here, and now we'll keep an eye on where Esteban Ocon is going to come out of the pits. He was, of course, right up there before the pit stop phase as well, and you can see that actually he's going to be falling out of the top 5. As we make our way now onto lap 18, he still is not in the top 5. It is myself, from Piastri, from Magnussen, from Sargent, from Lawson in P5 at the moment. So yeah, a really, really difficult time of things for Esteban Ocon, and we're just kind of holding on to our lead quite nicely. I think the cars behind are having some pretty big battles from what I can see here. You can see that Sargent and Magnussen again have just lost another 5 tenths to me, I think, from where Sargent was overtaking Magnussen there, and that was a warning that you probably didn't hear because the commentary was sped up, but they did say that rain's coming in 15 minutes. As long as there's no safety car or red flag, I think red flag is the thing I'm most worried about. As long as there's no red flag, that rain won't affect us, it's too far away. But yeah, we will see now as we make our way towards the end of lap 21. Logan Sargent actually had quite significantly better pace than Kevin Magnussen. I think Magnussen was fighting for his life just to stay in the DRS range of Logan Sargent, and yeah, he's actually closing us down now. So we need to be careful here, because otherwise we are going to lose the lead here with only like 5 laps to go. It's not absolutely nailed on that we're going to win here. We could be on the verge of handing Logan Sargent his 2nd win, and his 1st win since his home race in Miami a few races ago, where he picked up his 1st win in absolutely sensational fashion. And of course, you know, Kevin Magnussen, he could be on for his 1st win in 5 years, literally 5 years to the weekend is when Kevin Magnussen got his first win in Formula 1. So yeah, he would be very keen to get a victory here. Oscar Piastri as well. He's not won in absolutely donkey's years. He came P2 in the championship last season, but he didn't get a single win. All 3 of these guys behind me will be absolutely dying to win here, because it means so much to all of them. For us, you know, it is a track I would like to win at, because I've never won here before, but you know, it won't mean as much to me. I think I'll still be taking the lead of the championship even if I finish sort of P2, P3 today, so it's not something I have to worry about too much, but certainly I would want to I'd want to get the victory to maximise my chance of staying ahead in the championship, especially with the absolutely shockingly poor reliability we've been experiencing recently. Pretty much the whole time I was leading this race, to be honest, I was getting very nervous that we were going to have a mechanical failure at any time. But as we make our way on to lap 26, and now we're going to transition over to the end of lap 26 and towards the start of lap 27, yeah, as we got to that point, I started to believe that it would be possible, because I think even if we were having a mechanical failure here on lap 27, I think they would just kind of let me take the car to the line. I still think there would be a chance of scoring points even if we were down on power. It would probably be a P7 looking at things, because we've got the 3 cars who are like directly behind us now. Actually, Sargent in that DRS range, he definitely will be looking to mount a challenge on me in the DRS zone. And then there's a bit of another pack behind, which I think is Lawson, Leclerc and Ocon in the fight for P5. But here in the fight for P1, let's see, will Logan Sargent have enough pace to close me down in the DRS zone? It doesn't seem like he quite does. 4 tenths remains the gap, but what kind of traction and what kind of tyre performance has he got? We're 40% worn on the tyres now, so yeah, they've definitely seen better days. As for Logan Sargent, it does seem like he's got slightly better traction out of the corners than we do, so yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he looks for a bit of an unorthodox move here. He's still got one more DRS zone, of course. If he gets me on the line after I've been leading for the entirety of my second stint, effectively, I will be absolutely livid. I will be devastated, because, you know, we have looked dead set to win this race today, just on the basis of the performance and the pace that we've been showing, and also the strategy as well. The strategy was pretty good, so all in all, I've been very, very happy. But will Logan Sargent have enough to get us over the line? No. He was 2 tenths away in the end. It was a very close one, but we've held on. I think if there'd been one more lap here today, it could have gone a different way, and Logan Sargent may have booked me. But fortunately, we held on, and that will be another victory in this season for us.
A great race then, and a fantastic victory here at Paul Ricard. So, Natalie, what made the difference out there today?
Well, confidence breeds confidence. Success breeds success. They are very much enjoying a purple patch right now.
Well, what a thrilling end to an incredible Grand Prix weekend. Our top 3 finishers should be incredibly happy with what they were able to achieve out there today.
Well, it is a podium for the ages here today. It is myself leading home Logan Sargent, someone who is an unlikely championship contender this season, and my former teammate, the Viking legend Kevin Magnussen, finds himself on the podium once more in Formula 1. I'm sure that he will be very pleased with that. He'll be disappointed he couldn't get the win today. He would have felt like it was within his grasp, but I doubt he will be too upset with the result that he has achieved here today.
So let's have a quick look at how the drivers' standings have changed. Robinson takes over the lead of the Drivers' Championship. Let's focus on Driver of the Day, Natalie Pinkham. Come on, who do you pick?
I have to give it to Robinson.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. It was a tough race for our championship leaders, who lose ground at the top of the table. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today as they make their way up the standings. Been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula 1 action. Can't wait to see what's next.
Well, it was a very good race for us in the end. Well managed, well strategized, and in the end we had just enough in the tank to get us over the line. But yeah, Charles Leclerc as well, coming through from P10 on the grid to P6 at the flag. It's not too bad from him. If he was delivering performances like that week in, week out, I wouldn't have any reason to criticize him. And yeah, both of the Red Bulls did end up scoring points. It was P7 for Ocon, P9 for Russell. So yeah, low scoring round for the Red Bulls. And with the, I think it was 33 points we ended up scoring as a team. We have started to close the gap to the Red Bulls quite significantly. Only 48 points is the gap now, and if we can have another couple of races like this where the Red Bulls are kind of out of it a little bit and we are firmly in it, then we could be taking over the lead of the Constructors' Championship. But that is going to be an interesting fight with still 11 rounds to go in this championship. And yeah, I mean, we're getting into the part of the season which sometimes is a bit of a struggle for me, especially considering I can never remember the calendars I set out. I need to start making a note of these or something. But I believe there's no Belgium on the calendar this season. So we are going into a run of Hungary, followed by Zandvoort, followed by Monza. followed by Singapore, I believe, which, I mean, all 4 of those tracks have not typically been happy hunting grounds for me. Hungary I have had a couple of wins at, just because it's quite an easy track to defend from your nearest opponent. But the other ones have all kind of come up empty for me. I don't think I've won at any of them, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, it's going to be a really tricky stretch in the season, all the way through until Japan, most likely. I think Japan will be the next circuit where I really feel like I have an opportunity to get some strong points on the board. I'm sure that we'll probably have maybe 1 or 2 good races in the next few to kind of hold on to a decent chunk of points. I don't think that it'll be a completely fruitless stretch or anything like that. I think that we will do fairly well. It's just a simple fact of I don't think that it will be absolutely amazing. I'll be surprised if we win any of them, but I could definitely see us scoring points in most of them. So yeah, it was a fairly good French Grand Prix for us, and I'm happy to get I believe that's my 3rd win of the season now, with Australia and where else was it that I even won now? I think it's Spain, wasn't it? Australia, Spain, and France. Ironically, all 3 circuits I'd not won at before this season, and all of the circuits I had won at before this season, I seem to be coming up empty at. So yeah, a little bit of a surprising outcome here in season 7, but it is shaping up to be one of the best seasons I think that we've had on this year's game, if not the best season. The battling has been absolutely superb, and it was like that again during that first stint today. So yeah, really pleased with how things are going. But that is going to be it for this video. So if you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.